everyone. This is the third week of our Lenten meditative drawing. And today we're doing this wintry nighttime landscape. I chose that because the theme this week is listen. And I thought this was a very calm and quiet and peaceful picture to draw. So let's get started. All right. So we start just like how we have every week by putting a line down the middle going up and down and a line going in the middle going across, just very light. It just gives you a sense of scale of how you're going to draw this. And so I start a little bit below the halfway, making my first line of the landscape. I really had a hard time trying to decide what to do for this theme of listening. And I decided that this landscape, this winter landscape, looked peaceful and quiet. So that's why I chose it. So I hope you like it. I'm not loving it. So that's why you write, that's why you color really lightly when you, that's why you draw really lightly when you're doing it, because you can then change it if you don't like it. Okay, so first I draw the little landscape part. And this one is actually a pretty easy one to draw. The harder part is the coloring the sky and everything. That was a little bit trickier. All right, so now I'm gonna do my first tree. It's a little bit wider at the bottom, and then it is at the top. Once again, remember, staying very lightly drawing so you can erase if you don't like it. I'm gonna draw my second one. It's sort of in the middle of this hump. It's a little bit wider at the bottom, narrower at the top. Now I'm going to do my third tree. Straight up. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to add some branches onto my tree. And I'm going to add some branches onto this tree. Like that. Remember that you can always pause if I'm going faster than you would like to do it. Just pause. And then you can catch up. All right, now I'm going to do my last branches. I don't like that one. I'm going to erase it. Make it a little bit wider. Okay, now I have my branches. Now I'm going to put my moon. My moon is going to go just a little bit down. Oh, the other thing I forgot to tell you is I did this on a square piece of paper. Also, mine is 7 by 7 inches. My finished one is 6 by 6. It's a fair amount of kind of dark coloring, so I suggest that you do it on a smaller scale, because otherwise you're going to be coloring a lot more than you might want. Okay, so now I've got my moon. Now, the tree shadows are pretty easy. They don't need the detail of the tree itself, so they come down at an angle as if the moon is shining on them, so it's making it an angle. Right? And then this one's gonna angle this way. And this one's gonna angle this way. Okay. And that is pretty much it for the sketch. Now I'm gonna take my black Flair pen and I'm gonna outline the moon. Remember to outline the trees. Now I'm going to do the landscape line. And the tree, next tree. By the trees going off the page like this, it's a nice way that you can avoid having to do the top of the tree, which is really, I find, very difficult to do well. So by the trees just going off the page, it just saves you from having to do that. All right, so now I will go on and color using my Flair pen. I'm gonna color in the trees black. The reason they're black is because with the moon, it's making shadows on the trees. And I know we are heading into spring before we know it, so it seems sort of strange at the end of winter to draw this particular picture, but you know me, I love winter. I find a night snow extremely peaceful, calming. So that's what I chose to do. Try to make it so that you don't have any, as the art teacher at Morley calls it, Mr. Regan calls it peekaboos, don't have any white spots showing through. Okay. Okay, I'm not going to do all of them because I think you might get bored. But you're going to go ahead and color in the rest of the trees. Now I'm going to take my eraser and erase my midline. Don't need those anymore. Excellent. All right, so the coloring of the sky is a little bit tricky. Let me So, because you want to leave these little white dots in it that make it look sort of like snow foam. So the way I did it is I'll do this section over here. So what I did is I took my colored pencil, made sure it was nice and sharp. Okay, now I'm gonna make little dots by reverse drawing like the outline of blue around each little dot. So here's 1, 2, just randomly putting them in there. Little snowflakes. It also gives it sort of a, I don't know, special feeling. I actually thought this was probably one of the hardest things of this particular drawing. Okay, now you go back through and fill in the rest, being careful when you get to the small little white parts that you don't fill them in. It's nice to have some quiet. When it's quiet in your house, what do you hear? I can hear, I just heard a dog barking. Just heard the heater click. You'll see, that's how I created those little white dots, by coloring the blue and leaving it all the little white dots. For this looks like it looked like snow. Fill in the rest the same way as you did these, randomly putting the little dots around, make it look like snow. All right, you can see Theo and Lily have a lot to say. All right, so that is the start of coloring in the blue in the back. The blue actually takes a fairly long time. Then I took a gray pencil for the shadow, and I first outlined it. All right, and then, and as I've said in other drawing meditations, when you color the same direction, unless you want to give it some kind of texture, and then you might do it in a different way, but usually you want it to be all the same direction. So that is that. And here is my finished one. Put this right here so you can see it. Quiet, peaceful, winter landscape. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. I love drawing. It's very relaxing. So if you do the drawing and you would be willing to send me a picture of it, that would be awesome. That way I could share it with the rest of the congregation. People love to see what other people are doing, especially during this COVID time. So let us end with a prayer. Attentive God, thank you for knowing us. thank you that we can know you through your stories and through each other. Help us to love one another by listening well. Amen.